think they have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach so much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secured in his words, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. ADEKUNLE Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransome Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on the 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransome Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in the deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule of the unjust and man's inhumanity against man. He was born July 18, 1918 in Mvezo, South Africa. Educated and trained as a successful legal practitioner, he took up the gauntlet of a human activist against segregation by the minority white suprematists in South Africa. At the climax of his trial for treason, orchestrated by the minority South African government, the great crusader for democratic equality was prepared to pay the supreme sacrifice to establish majority rule in his native land. He told white jurists that if achieving freedom for his people was worth his life, he was prepared to die. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in Robben Island, described as the most notorious prison in the world. It was from this same prison that he came out as a free man to assume office as South Africa's first black president in 1994. Western Spring Television identifies Nelson Mandela as a watershed character in history. Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank God it's Friday, and I want to say good morning to you. Thank you for being here with us, and I want to say, how are you doing? And definitely please look up and do the needful as well. Welcome to the final edition of Morning Spring, coming to you from Western Spring Television channels 190 on the DTT. It is a very beautiful Friday. The weather is absolutely gorgeous this morning, and I hope it is as well wherever you are watching us. Thank you most sincerely for being there with us, and you can trust us at Western Spring Television. We say it as it is, and definitely it's another time to do what we know how to do best. TUNDE IDOWU is my name. Follow me up on Twitter at IrresistibleTG. Today, as always, promises to be beautiful, and we can assure you that we'll look at so many things making the rounds. Majorly, we'll start off from the pages of the different dailies that I have with me here. And in the course of this program, we'll be looking at the spate of drug abuse in Nigeria, using Osun State as a case study, looking at what the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, that's the NDLEA, stated in the last couple of days, that the rate at which drug abuse is widening up here in Osun State. It is alarming. We will bring in a psychiatrist, and hopefully we can get one of our very amazing doctors where we can discuss this to tell us and show us the way. What could have been the cause? Peer pressure, parenthood, the society, government. What could have brought about this large extent at which drug abuse is ravaging Osun State at this moment in time? We will look into that, and it promises to be super exciting. It's the last edition for the month of June, and for the week, hey, the first half of 2023 is passing away very shortly. I'd like to let you know that you can view us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are live at Western Spring Television. Welcoming you once again on behalf of the entire transmission team. We'll take a short break right now, and when I return, I will be joined by my analyst who will help us out to break down some of the headlines that we have from the various newspapers with me this morning. Once again, good morning, and thank you for staying with us.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West. And Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. ADEKUNLE Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in the deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule of the unjust and man's inhumanity against man. He was born July 18, 1918 in Mvezo, South Africa. Educated and trained as a successful legal practitioner, he took up the gauntlet of a human activist against segregation by the minority white supremacists in South Africa. At the climax of his trial for treason, orchestrated by the minority South African government, the great crusader for democratic equality was prepared to pay the supreme sacrifice to establish majority rule in his native land. He told white jurists that if achieving freedom for his people was worth his life, he was prepared to die. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in Robben Island, described as the most notorious prison in the world. It was from this same prison that he came out as a free man to assume office as South Africa's first black president in 1994. Western Spring Television identifies Nelson Mandela as a watershed character in history. Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. The 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader. whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine will be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attached to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? I know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday. They are saying it favors you, I the vex so.
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Who are you now?
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world. And the last time I checked, well, it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, is he actually out of this world? We're all in the world now. As long as you're alive, you're in the world. So, MC Too Much, I beg you to talk about that. I don't want to hear that. Next time you talk about like his own.
I think I have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach so much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secured in his words, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ń kojú àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn ará àwùjọ tí ohun ò dẹ̀ dókè. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìnira, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìyà làwọn èèyàn ń kojú rẹ̀ ní àdúgbò. Ojú ọ̀nà tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó, iná ọba tó mẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń ṣe ségesège, àwọn tó ń ìwà àbàṣejẹ́ obì tí ń sun lẹ́rùn, àti àwọn nǹkan tí ò tí ì dé tí gbọ́ ìjọba. Ṣé wọ́n ní etí ọba nílé etí ọba lóko, èèyàn náà ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Òun náà ló jẹ́ kí ìkànnì Western Spring Television gbé ètò tí ó jẹ́ kẹ́yìn ara lé ẹ̀yin ará àwùjọ kẹ́lẹ́ mọ́ sọ bí tí bàtà bá ti ń ta yín lẹ́sẹ̀ fún àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ni wípé ẹ mú fóònù yín, ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yín, ẹ dábù rẹ̀, ẹ mọ̀ yà ní gbọ́rọ̀, ẹ dábù rẹ̀, ẹ ṣe àkàálẹ̀ ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó ìjọba, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn aláṣẹ, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn elétò ìlera, àwọn elétò ààbò àti àwọn míì tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí fọ́nrán náà ìyẹn fídíò tẹ́ máa ṣe àkálẹ̀ rẹ̀ kó mọ̀ ju ìṣẹ́jú 2 tàbí 3 lọ. Ẹ máa fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí WhatsApp lórí ẹ̀rọ 0803 865 1049 0803 865 1049. Ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn fọ́nrán yín, àwọn àwòrán yín kó máa wọlé. Orí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí, ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ jẹ́ ojú ẹlẹ́rìí. Ohun táwọn èèyàn nílò, ohun tó ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn láwùjọ níyà, ilé tí ò nílé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀, ibi tí ò níbi tó ti ń dẹ ẹ̀gbin nù, tó wá jẹ́ pé ẹ̀gbin wọn ni àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn aráàlú lára gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ fi tó àwọn aláṣẹ létí ohun tẹ́ ẹ nílò ní agbègbè yín ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn aláṣẹ mọ̀. Orúkọ mi ni Adéyẹmí Ọlápọ̀dé, èmi ni atọ́kùn ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí lórí Western Spring Television, ìkànnì àádọ́wàá ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé láago 2:30 ọ̀sán.
Bẹ́gùn bá jáde mọ̀rìnwó la kọ́kọ́ rí ọwọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ ní síwájú ìjó ẹsẹ̀ katakata ní síwájú rìn bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń gbúrò wa a tún ti dé náà nù ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Owambe Unlimited pẹ̀lú èmi ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ yín ọ̀rẹ́ yín Suliat tẹ́túmọ̀ sí mo rẹ́ni kejì ẹ lè pè mí ní Sùsù tó bá wẹ lómi a sọ pé ìyálòdì àríyá gbogbo orúkọ tẹ́ ẹ bá pè mí kò sí èyí tí mi ò ní jẹ yín ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò Owambe Unlimited lórí ìkànnì Western Spring Television ní ìkànnì 190 ibẹ̀ ni Owambe Unlimited ń bọ̀ wá ẹ fàpùrẹ̀ tẹ̀dí kẹ́ ẹ máa gbádùn ètò àríyá wa.
Wọ́n sọ fún yín pé ẹ máa wo Owambe Unlimited lórí Western Spring Television.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Èdè Yorùbá jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn èdè tí wọ́n ń sọ ní agbègbè Niger Congo. Èdè Yorùbá gbajúgbajà ní àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó ń bẹ ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Ó kéré tán, àwọn ènìyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 14 ló ń sọ èdè Yorùbá lónìí. Ètò akọ́mọlédè ló ń dé sójú ìwòran yín láti iléeṣẹ́ móhùnmáwòrán WSTV ìkànnì àádọ́wàá channel 190 lórí Star Times. Folúṣọ́ aya Olúwagbémiga ìyá ìjọ pèdèpèdè ìyá akọ́mọlédè ló kọ tèmi. Yorùbá dùn púpọ̀, Yorùbá ò lè kú, Yorùbá ò lè parun, tiwa làṣà, tiwa lèdè, tiwa nìṣẹ̀ṣe akọ́mọlédè.
All right, thank you for being there. And let me say we sincerely apologize that we're coming a little bit late due to some technical issues, just to make sure that we say it as it is. That's why we decided to hold back a little bit. Please bear with us. But thank God it's Friday, and coming back here on Monday will definitely be crispy, and it will be first class. Trust us right here at Western Spring Television. You're welcome if you're just joining us, and I just hope we remember work is back. The holidays are over, and let's get back to work. But at this moment in time, let's get to talk to you and serve you the very best of stories making the round from the dailies this morning. I've got quite a whole lot of them with me this time. Okay, about 4 of the dailies are here. 5 of the dailies, all right. The Nation, Tribune, Daily Trust, Guardian, and This Day newspaper. We'll check them out, and my analyst is around the corner and is ready to do justice to the stories making the rounds. I'd like to most sincerely thank my analyst, Ayo Ologun, a journalist, a civil rights activist, and is human rights activist, joining me via Zoom this morning. Good morning to you, Ayo Ologun.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here. It's a Friday. I know you like to take it easy. It's really nice to know that, yeah, you said something off air that you slept in the other room. Is that true?
No, the inner room actually.
Oh, you actually slept in the inner room.
I know it's Friday, so we call it TGI. Thank God it's Friday.
Let's get down to the business of the morning. I'd like to thank you once again. All right, let's check out the first headline coming in from the Nation newspaper this beautiful Friday morning here. And you have this big, bold headline, Tinubu to governors, be ready, let's fix economy together. And a writer to that story says, Shetima, Akpabio, Abbas, governors celebrate Eid with president in Lagos. Tinubu to governors, be ready, let's fix economy together. What do you make of this? Calling all the governors, hey, let's leave our political affiliations aside. Let's all come together. Let's fix the economy. One of the many things we've always known, Mr. President, Ashwaju, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for. What do you make of that statement yesterday by Mr. President?
I think it's a call in order, and because if you recall that one of the problems that bedeviled us as a nation before now, talking about leadership, is the fact that there has not been a synergy of coordination of work between the governors and the president. Many times they work at cross purposes. You will see these governors, because of the political affiliation, trying to do everything possible to sabotage the effort of the federal government in whatever actions they are taking. You will see many states, because they are in the opposition party, trying to ensure that whatever is the policy of the federal government that even their own people are supposed to benefit from, they find a way of sabotaging it or not even allowing it to come to fruition in the first place. So I believe that call by Ashwaju in Lagos yesterday, when he met with APC governors, I want to believe, is a good one. Because there's no way we can have a nation that we desire. There's no way we can have a country that we all can be proud of. There's no synergy of efforts between the presidency and all the state governors. Because in terms of policies, the kind of constitution we run is such that the federal government cannot enforce its own, except for constitutional issues. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of policies that the federal government cannot enforce on states, except the state assembly and or the state governors decide to toe the line of the federal government. One of such is even the issue of minimum wage. You can't sit in Abuja, decide the minimum wage for the workers of the country and enforce it on the government. So if we want to have progress in this country, which we all pray for, then there is an important need that there will be a synergy and coordination of efforts between the governors and the president of the country. So I want to believe that statement yesterday coming from the president of the nation is a very good one, and it's coming at a very timely period. And I hope that the governors will heed that call and they will put hands together to move this country to the greater height that we all desire for it.
Now, when you have the likes of the vice president, the Senate president, the Speaker of the House of Representatives observing the Eid festival with Mr. President, is it an aspect of strategy being put in place to make sure that the economy is much, much better?
I think we should be circumspect in such opinion. We will remember that the Eid prayer actually ends on Wednesday. So most of these people you're talking about, the vice president, the speaker, and the rest of them, many of them observed the festival on Wednesday in their different country homes. So yesterday was supposed to be a day of activities where Muslims are expected to go around, visit families and such. So that meeting of yesterday was not out of place. The celebration aired on Wednesday. Many of them were in their different country homes. They were in their different state of origin to have the celebration. So it's not out of place that they come together yesterday to celebrate with the president of the country, who incidentally is also a Muslim. So the meeting of yesterday, I want to believe, was not only strategic, but it's needful in ensuring that there's a synergy. And you will see that the number of things happened at that meeting yesterday, which are good ones. A lot of us, for me particularly, I don't think I've seen another in the limelight.
Yeah, I was coming to that as well. So yesterday's meeting was an avenue for a reunion. Of course, we saw the governor
of Anambra also coming to that event, which is a symbol of the fact that there's an improvement in relationship. Because if the man that has been accused of not raising the picture of the president in his office as governor in Anambra, now seeing him in Lagos alongside other governors of the country to facilitate and rejoice with the president on the Eid celebration, I think it's a good one, and it's a sign that for once we're having a synergy between these two arms of, these two levels of government, and it's a symbol of the good things that are to come.
Now, exactly, you took me ahead at this point, looking at the picture below the Nation newspaper there, where you have former Governor Ambode, the incumbent Governor Sanwo-Olu, Mr. President Pibat, and former Governor and former Minister of Works Fashola in that picture. And you have that story there. Ambode reunites with Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, Fashola. What do you make of this?
It is an interesting one because for a lot of political observers and those who were following the politics of Lagos, we will remember the circumstances by which Ambode was denied the ticket of the party to run for a second time. In that picture, those are all the governors of Lagos State in this First Republic from 1999 up to today. These are the four persons that have X-way. But it's also important to note that in that picture, it's only Ambode that did not have the second term in Lagos. And of course, there were a lot of news reports that he was angry. There were a lot of news reports that he was going to spill the beans. He was going to expose this, expose that. And of course, he left the limelight. Hardly will you see Ambode in any political event. He was nowhere to be found during all the rallies of the APC. So seeing him again, coming back to the fold, reuniting with his brother governors, whom God has given the privilege of leading Lagos State, is for me, is heartwarming that for once, leaders understand that sometimes you don't win it all. Sometimes things don't pull your way, but you don't rock the boat. You don't assume that you are better than others or others are better than you. So that union yesterday for me is a symbol of the fact that we are maturing as a people. It's a symbol for me of the fact that for once our political leaders are beginning to understand that there is time and season for everything, and you might not be lucky today, you'll be lucky tomorrow. So I'm not a member of the APC, but as a leadership expert, that picture and that union today is symbolic for me, and I give it a kudos, and I hope other leaders will learn from this. I am looking forward to a day like this when I will see Anarabe Shola also coming back into the fold, hopefully, irrespective of whatever has happened between them, and they can put the past behind them and move forward to do that which God has placed on their lap to do.
All right, let's move on quickly. Deluge of visitors forced Buhari to leave Daura, says aide. I don't know, maybe former President Muhammadu Buhari isn't used to the fact that, hey, once you are in that level, whereby you've been a former president, you cannot escape the fact that people will keep coming. Your door will always be open at this moment. So Mr. President needs not to have run away to London at this moment. But let's just leave that and let's come to the other story making the round from the Nation newspaper still. Eid grand clash. Adeleke's account illogical. And you have a rider, Senator, Governor, disagree. We all saw what transpired at the Eid ground here in Osun State, Osogbo precisely, during Salah on Wednesday. But here we are. Everybody, there's been counter-offensive. There's been talk about this person is to blame, this person is to blame. But what do you make of that story, that event on that fateful Wednesday morning?
For me, I think Osun State is finding itself in the news for the very wrong reasons. And for those who have chosen to go political about that offense, I hope that years to come, they will understand that this is beyond politics. This is beyond the integrity of the office of the governor and the importance of the sanctity of our people. There have been a lot of different accounts. I've listened to the account of the senator, Surajuddin. I've listened to that of the spokesperson to the governor. And I can tell you that my opinion is simply this. Number one, that event, just like Tunde Badmo said, was avoidable. It was only allowed to be scaled up by political jobbers who wants to score a point and who wants to see their principals on both sides as being loyal and as working assiduously when they are failed. I have been privileged to work close to governors before, and I know for sure that the least you can see the protocol of the governor before any event is 2 hours. The anti-bomb and other security agents will have been organized to check where the governor would be. They will have reserved a seat. So the failure of the protocol and the security of the governor to have informed the leadership of that praying ground, particularly the chief imam, or to have been on ground ever before people start arriving to do a security check. If they have arrived earlier, the so-called talks that were coming out from the bushes around the mosque will have been wheeled out. So it should be an admittance of failure on the part of the security and the protocol department of the governor that such incidents happened in the first place. And instead of the handlers of the governor to be looking in that direction, to tighten their homes, to put sanity in place, to ensure that those who failed in their duty are called to order, they decided to politicize it. That's number one. Number two, on the part of SRJ2, Yoruba will say, you have an antecedent of such in 2017. It was between him and actually today Badmus, if my memory serves me right.
Absolutely.
There have been this issue of the fact that you are arrogant, you are rude, you are this. So when such events happen, I expect another day to have known that this is the deliberate attempt at provoking him. A walk out from that place, to have gone to sit any other place, would not have reduced his integrity, would not have reduced in honor in any way, would not have changed who he is. And that's why he said it is also avoidable on his part. But in all of this, if the governor and his allies want to hear the truth, the signal you are simply sending out to the general public is that the security and the protocol of the governor is porous. And how do you explain that a supposed Muslim, the governor of the state who is supposedly a Muslim, will, because of a minor fracas at a praying ground, fail to pray on the day of Ileya? What serious Muslim, what genuine Muslim does that? So on the part of the two of them, this index was avoidable. This could have been done in such a way that will have been handled more maturely without putting Osun State in undue news for the very wrong reasons.
And because looking at it yesterday on our sister station, Alhaji Muniru Raju was here, and there's quite a whole lot of talk concerning this. We just hope this will calm down so that the state will not boil. There's been counter-offensive, there's been counter-attacks, talks about this and that concerning what transpired on Wednesday. And let's just hope and hope real good that this will not turn the state into a battleground. But let's move on at this moment in time. Other stories making the rounds from the Nation newspaper. Ipman cautions against hike in petrol price. Are we not there yet? From 195, we are at 530, 535, 40, and it goes on and on like that. But Ipman is calling at this moment in time that, hey, we need to restrain, we need to bring about caution. Can this be possible? Is there a caution, or caution has been thrown into the wind?
I think oil marketers need to, in the words of the streets or in the words of their local guide, they will tell you, see caution. I think it is important that not just the money is coming from Ipman. I think it should also be going to the federal government and those who are involved in the oil sector, that they need to see caution. I read in the news yesterday that as soon as the festivities are over and fuel is being lifted from next week, that there's the likelihood that the cost of PMS will jump to 700 naira per liter.
Yeah.
I bought for 540 yesterday. And I can tell you, this is not funny at all. It's becoming burdensome.
Absolutely.
That money that is supposed to be meant for other things, you will have to divert it to buying fuel into one vehicle or the other because you need to move from point A to the other. So you now imagine that the price will have to jump again from 500, whatever it is, to 700. I hope this will not lead us to a spontaneous protest with the people. If you have to even increase the money for whatever reason at all, I understand, because I'm enlightened to know that sometimes you need to get to the very worst before it gets better. Sometimes you need to get very hard. We might even have to buy up to 1,000 in the course of the recent period before it will begin, things will begin to take shape and will come down. But we have been shouting that hard as it is, don't make it harder. And if it has to be a little bit harder, there should be cautionary effects. It's been 1 month. No step has been taken about palliative. No step has been taken about providing cautionary effect to the increase in price of petroleum. And all of a sudden, people in one corner are meeting the idea of having the cost of petroleum jump to 700. I hope that the presidency will be able to handle what's about to snowball in their hearts, because the people don't have it any bit other than the way it is at the moment.
Let's move over to the next paper here, and that's the Nigerian Tribune. From the pages of Nigerian Tribune, you have this big bold headline on that page: Naira redesign. Despite its failure, our money was confiscated. That's credited to PBAT there. And a couple of writers is associated to that story. I invoked a Milocon spirit of freedom, determination to win 2023 poll, he says. Promises to fast-track Nigeria's economic growth. I could have benefited from dual exchange rate if retained, he adds. Looking at all this statement, while he was in Ogun State yesterday, meeting with the Awujale and what have you, despite its failure, our money was confiscated. Tinubu, will you look at this statement and say this was why former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, was sacked?
I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a penchant for choosing Ogun State as the state where he makes outbursts and says words of marble in quotes now. Because the people call that was even Ogun State also during his campaign that he came up with the mantra of Emiloka and the rest of the Eleyi of Eyi. That became the slang for a number of months in the country. And then he was back to Ogun State yesterday and he made that statement. For me, that statement could have been avoided. I think I said then too about his inaugural speech when he made that outburst of something is gone and gone forever. And I think for me, most of the time I don't blame leaders, I blame their handlers. When you are going to public events, you must have foreseen the likelihood of what the emotion of your principal would be. You should be able to advise him on what to say or not what not to say. To me, that statement exudes arrogance. Because I listened to people in the news they saying that look, whether even if they had done this or done that in the election, I will still have won. And the truth is, the number of people that voted against actually Bola Ahmed Tinubu are more than the people that voted for him. So you can imagine such a bold statement that you would have won against all contests if there were other things that were put in place that could be equivalent to winning, other than the vote of the people cast. I think that statement was necessary. And you are also, as the president, need to be careful about saying things that can be misunderstood. A lot of people, just like you said, are beginning to say, oh, is it because money was transmitted from Tinubu that Emefiele was eventually arrested? Were they attempts by the EFCC to maybe to also have a break into Tinubu's home or associates to confiscate money illegally kept and what have you? Perhaps the reasons for the arrest and their trial now is born out of vendetta about what they did and what they didn't do during the election. But all of these insinuations and breaking down of thoughts will have been avoidable if the president has chosen or has been careful about his choice of words. So I think going forward, I charge the handlers of the president to be circumspect so that in every function, they tame the emotion of the president and ensure that whatever is coming from his mouth is such that it is edifying and not boastful going forward.
All right, let me move on. Let me move on because I would have loved to ask a couple of things about that. But let's move on here. Federal government's debt servicing gobbled 1.2 trillion naira in first quarter of 2023. That's credited to the DMO. Hey, where are we going from here? Looking at this humongous amount of money being reeled out on daily basis, can Nigeria ever, can we get it right? Can it be stable? Looking at the debt servicing in the first quarter of 2023, gulping 1.2 trillion naira. Looking at how poverty is ravaging the citizens of this nation.
Well, you said, where are we going? We are going nowhere, except we are going deeper into debt. And let me quickly say this, that the idea of owing debt in itself is not wrong. It is when the purpose for owing debt is wrong that you have issues. There are a lot of countries that are owing more than we are as a nation. But the truth is they can see value for the debts that we are owing. But we live in a country where there's no accountability. We live in a country where there are no repercussions for actions. And that is why we're going deeper into the mess every day. All the money that we loaned from China in the name of railway revitalization, where are they? How many railway lines have been revitalized in this country? Apart from the Lagos, Ibadan, Abeokuta one, and then the Abuja, Kaduna. Can we quantify the cost of investment in that 2 lanes and compare it to the loan taking? And we had a minister, Rotimi Amechi, was in charge. He's somewhere cooling off, enjoying the looks of this country, and nobody's asking any questions. We have not forgotten so far the privatization under former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Nobody is asking questions about that. So if you are borrowing money on our behalf, borrowing money is not borrowed to pay salary. Money is supposed to be borrowed for infrastructure. And when you borrow money and there is no commensurate infrastructure put in place, then we'll continue to borrow, we'll continue to go into debt. So I can tell you for a fact that you and I, our future has been mortgaged, because the money that was supposed to be used for the future that you and I envisage for our children will continue to be used in debt service. And I don't think Nigeria will have the moral integrity or the moral stand to go back to any international organization and ask for the debt forgiveness. How can you ask for debt forgiveness when you are so much endowed? So if care is not taken, except we triple in whatever means our internal generated revenue or revenue available to the state, whereby we can pay as much debt and still have much in reserve for infrastructure, then we have a problem. That means we continue to borrow to service debt. We borrow to service debt. We borrow to service debt, and until when we get to the point whereby the nation itself we have it to its field.
At this moment in time, I quickly want us to just look at some other stories making the round from some of the dailies I have with me here. And I quickly will stay with Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper has this story on the black strip. Federal government okays vehicle importation via land borders. We heard in the course of, I think it was in the course of this week, that the duty papers will increase about 40%. And the federal government is coming out to say they are okaying vehicle importation via land borders. And you know the speed at which all our borders are. Is this an aspect to avoid the payment of the duty stuff from customs and what have you?
No, land borders has customs too.
Yes.
So whether you import to the sea or to the land, it does not take away the payment of custom duty. So that in itself is an unfounded fear.
Yeah.
But my fear is that opening up the borders for importation of vehicles will not only be limited to vehicles. That's the unfortunate thing. Many people, many importers, the moment they are importing vehicles, they stock the inners of their vehicles, their boots, with other products that are contraband. And because to be coming in containers, in most cases, you hardly can know what the content of those vehicles are.
Yes. So
I hope that opening of the land borders for importation of vehicle will not degenerate into a level whereby other contrabands, other things that are not safe for the country will be imported. But if you ask me, if there is a way the customs can work around that to ensure that importation of vehicles is not eventually used for smuggling of other contraband products, is a good deal, because importing vehicles through the land border will likely bring down the cost of vehicles. You and I will know that it's only a man that has eaten and has a lot in reserve that will go to a car mart now to say he wants to buy a car. So hopefully vehicles through the land borders will reduce the cost of vehicles, but it should be done in such a way that will not lead to importation of other contraband products that are safe for a lot of people in this country.
I'd like to thank you most sincerely, Ologun, for joining me, taking you off your very good rest today. Please bear with me. Thank you for joining me on this show this beautiful Friday morning.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, we continue the show, and when we come back, we'll look at the space at which drug abuse is ravaging the nation, Nigeria, and Osun State in particular, as quoted by the NDLEA, that the spate of which drug abuse is, ravaging Osun State, it is large. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. ADEKUNLE Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
My director is always, I don't know, one fantastic man to absolutely work with. I want to thank you more sincerely. All right, it's a pleasure to be back again. Let's roll things at this moment in time. And right now, in the course of this week, it was the International Day of Drug Abuse, and we want to look at what the National Agency for Drug-Related, that's the NDLEA, I'm trying to get that back with me, saying Osun State, the rate at which drug abuse is here in Osun State, it is alarming, and we need to look at that. What could have caused this? And some have asked, and I've always asked as well, that is this an aspect of peer pressure? Is this an aspect of bad parenting? Is this an aspect of the society, or this copy attitude that is making this on the large scale? And what are the kind of drugs are we talking about? Methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, all these are there. So what would this look like? You know, it's very, very alarming, and it's scary, because it's come to the point at which secondary school pupils are into this as well. And hey, I remember a while, even in the secondary school, not because I'm here, but I was to be very compatible, just make sure that I do things in the right way. But these days, you tend to find secondary school pupils having illicit sex and all this. Drug abuse, is it one of the many things that has led to banditry, kidnapping, where so many things I don't know, associated? And because I feel so emotionally very, very sad concerning this. Why is the society so enclaved to this situation, and how can we get out of this situation? It's a pleasure to have with me a consultant psychiatrist. I want to welcome Dr. Benjamin ADEKUNLE EEGUNRANTI. Thank you, Doctor, for joining me on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Drug abuse. It's one thing that is very, very high in our dear nation, Nigeria. Before we come to Osun State, in Nigeria today, when we look at the speed at which banditry, the speed of insecurity, let me just leave it at that. Crime. And you can say that a normal person cannot do uncommon things without getting high. You have people, all these the youths, the younger generation, having to take injection. We have all these things. What do you think has led us to this point? It's a general thing all over the world, but the rate at which it is in Nigeria today, it's like, I want to go to the tap and take a cup of water and drink. It is that bad. What do you think could have led to this?
Thank you very much. Before we start, what exactly are we talking about when we mention drugs? Because when you say drug, people might be thinking that you are talking about paracetamol and all the rest. So we say psychoactive drug. Psychoactive
drugs. Okay.
When we say psychoactive drugs, what are we talking about? We are talking about drugs that can work on central nervous system.
Okay.
To affect your behavior, the behavioral pattern, the way you are thinking, your thinking process, and all the rest. And when this thing happens, it's going to cause some things in your body, generally, anywhere blood get to. Talking about what is actually causing it, what you have been mentioning, and some other things more.
Yes, please.
About crime and drug abuse, you never know which one is the cause, which one is the effect. Most of the time when you go to crime, you'll be introduced to psychoactive drugs. When you take psychoactive drugs, you're on your way to becoming a criminal. Because psychoactive drugs, when you are taking it, we say you are taking drugs that is not prescribed by any doctor for you. It is either you are taking illegal drug, the one that is not recognized by the law says don't take it.
Yeah.
Or you are taking drugs that is socially acceptable in excess. Or you are taking drugs. There are drugs that are socially acceptable. There are some that are spiritually acceptable. Let me say religious, as per religiosity. Because when you take, as a pastor, you can wake up and say, give me a cup of coffee. But by the time, as a pastor, you say, give me a stick of cigarette. People will say, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
As a human being, not a pastor, not a religious person, if you ask for cigarettes, alcohol, people will say, those are socially acceptable. But by the time you are asking for a stick of India hemp, people will start looking at you as an illegal person. So when you are taking illegal drugs, when you are taking socially acceptable drugs in excess, or when you are taking drugs that are physiologically or pharmacologically not needed, we say you are abusing drugs.
Okay.
Talking about what are the causes now. So many factors is multifactorial. Individual factor is there, family factor is there, and we have the community factor. Individually, there are some people,
yes,
they have this personality that for them to face crowd, they need to lace themselves with one psychoactive drug or the other. I remember when I was in medical school, there was a guy that said, let's go and I want you to fix me up with a lady. I don't even know anybody there. We went to NT Elisha. By the time we got there, fortunately, I saw somebody that I have met before. We started chatting. Okay, I want to do this and this and this. And I don't worry, but I have a lecture. I have a lecture now. That interval between the person's lecture and by the time they complete the lecture, my friend said, I want to go and take beer so that I'll be able to face the lady they are going to introduce to me. Of course, it took beer. I took soft drink or water. I've forgotten now. Unfortunately, by the time we came back, the lady smelled alcohol.
Oh my goodness.
And said, whatever you want to tell me now is going to be under
the influence of alcohol.
So come back later. Can you imagine? That is telling you that there are some people that cannot even speak to you on phone without being on drug. It's either they are on drug or they start shouting. So that kind of habit can push somebody into taking drug. Now, genetically, there are some individuals, it is in their gene that they will take drug. So, but you know the way you behave is nature and nurture. The one in your gene is the nature. The nurture is where they have taken care of you. So if you are well brought up, the nurture may override the gene in you.
Okay.
And you won't take it. That means you are putting it from your unconscious mind to your subconscious mind that I don't want to take this. Then the occupation that one does is important too.
Occupation?
Yes.
Oh, really?
The executive, people that are entitled to, what do you call this thing? This money that they give you to entertain people because you're a big man.
Oh, okay. Impressed, okay.
They give you impress, entertainment, allowance, and all the rest.
All right.
When you are taking that kind of things, you buy all these things. Likelihood is that you start learning how to take it, even if you don't know how to take it before. Still talking about occupation. Assuming somebody is having the gene, or he's not even having the gene to take this thing, and he's now working in beauty. He's now working in club. I'll give you an example of somebody, of course, very rich. The guy is late now. The parents are rich. Is equally after finishing school, he wanted to do NYSC, and he was posted to a beauty. And he has been taking a call before this time. Now he's in beauty. After some times, he's now thinking of, what do I do? I'm not sure these people will pension me adequately after retiring. Let me do something that will give me money after retirement. He started clubbing. You know, from beauty to clubbing. And eventually, it is the side effect of the drugs that killed the man.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, the man is late now. May his soul keep on resting in peace. Now, I haven't talked about that. We now talk about the family factor. Modeling is an important thing.
Yeah.
If you have a son now, he will want to behave exactly the way you are behaving because he loves you.
He sees what you do.
Yes. If you tell your child that don't go to that place, he will not go there if you don't go there.
Absolutely.
But if they leave that place and you are going there, he will say, Daddy is just playing with me. If it is not good, Daddy will not do it. We'll start doing it. And there is this proverb. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it in Yoruba.
Okay.
Because your son or your daughter want to behave like you, you will overdo it. So if you are taking a bottle of alcohol, for example, and you're not even taking cigarette, one son will just take 2 bottles, cigarette, and probably hemp. That is modeling. Acceptability is another important factor.
Acceptability.
Yes. If you are in the north now, though some of them are taking it, but they will tell you that it is not acceptable in this family. In some family, tapele water is something that you take at will. That I have a friend that told me one day that taking hemp in their area is just one of those things. There was a time we were doing drug screening for some people in some area. I'm not going to mention the town now.
Okay.
And somebody now said, when you are doing your screening, when you are about to do it, and you see somebody that is from this town, don't bother do it again. Just say positive.
From this town? Yes. Obviously, no doubt.
Yes. Virtually all of them take it there. There are, hemp, for example, that's marijuana. It does not grow in all lands. In Ocean, for example, we have places like Ikire, Akwomu, Ila, they have fertile land for this thing. They don't take it as much compared to people in our fertile land, and they take it. Our people don't take it compared to people in Delta. There are some towns in Delta that there is nobody in the household that will not take it. So they don't see it as anything.
Wow.
The same thing goes with alcohol, sapele water. They take it as water. They take it as water. And the alcohol in those areas is not just ordinary alcohol. It is a kind of alcohol that you can use to embalm. That is telling you how strong the percentage is. You know, you have some alcohol that is 5.5, some alcoholic doing just 5.5%, 17%. There is one that they call AK-47. That means it's having 47%.
Wow.
Some are having more than that in those areas. So you can use it to embalm dead body, and it will still remain intact. That is telling you that what you are taking into your body is not something that you should be taking.
Let me quickly just hold you there. Looking at what the chairman, CEO, NDLEA Brigadier General Bubamarwa said in the course of this week that drug abuse linked to 90% of crime in Nigeria. 90%. That's huge.
He is 90% correct.
Oh my goodness.
And now the two of us are here now. Even if there is crisis, God forbid, in this place, and they gave you AK-47 and AK-47, we'll go and shoot. We'll be thinking twice before we cock.
Absolutely.
But when you see somebody that is under the influence of drugs, even if they don't see the person to shoot, they start shooting up. That is why I want to sincerely advise that, you know, when you are a military man or paramilitary person,
yes,
that means you have freedom of shooting. They give you gun. Now imagine you are now under the influence of drugs. You just shoot any shootable person.
Oh my goodness.
So at the end of the day, put that person in the cell for 24 hours. You will see him crying that, oh my God, I don't know that I've killed this person and he has not offended me. But he was walking under the influence of different kind of drugs. We're just talking, the well-studied one out of all these drugs is alcohol. But there are so many other drugs that you mentioned cocaine, heroin, all these things. There are some that are, we call them psychostimulants. Some are depressants. Some are perception.
Yeah.
You start seeing things.
My goodness.
There are some that you can't even, there is difficulty classifying them now. There is one that they call Gegemu in the corner. Once you take this thing, my brother, even if they are stabbing you, you won't feel the pain there. You will still be fighting until after all said and done and the effect of the drug is now wearing off. That is when you now start feeling pain. Or you have wreaked a lot of damages before then. So the man is 90%, if not 100% correct.
Wow. It's a little bit scary here because as of 2018, about 14.3 million youths were involved in substance abuse. That's huge. 14.3 million youths. What does this portend for this and to this society?
It's unfortunate that the youth that we're talking about, they are the workforce of the nation.
Yes.
Most of the youth that you see nowadays, they are not employable. They will come out and say government is not making provision for job, no job for us, no this, no that. Give them job. Even the job that they will take out of their own volition. That, okay, you have told us what we want and go and go. They will still mess up because without drug, they cannot function.
Yeah.
When they have taken this drug, they start misbehaving. The study I did in 2006, the age of people that are starting these drugs, they're in the neighborhood of 13, 14, 15.
That age range?
13, 14, 15.
Oh my goodness.
They are the one in secondary school.
Yes.
They are the one that will start it. There is what we call, when they introduce you to this, there are some drugs that we call gateway drugs. Like cigarettes is one of them, a gateway drug. They may not take cigarette per se. Some of them will roll paper and start learning how to do it. And at the end of the day, they not graduate. The part of the factors that are causing people to go into drug, we did not complete it. Media effect is one of them. Look at the way they introduce, they advertise some of these psychoactive drugs, alcohol, for example. Thank God government has, WHO, they banned them from advertising cigarettes. Despite what they put on the bottle of cigarette, that it kills. Stop it. It's more than 70% of the content we call cancer. this and this and this, people still go ahead and take it. Now imagine, and some people now advertising some drugs. Black is beautiful, and youth, they want to model what the people that they love. Suffice it to say that there are some children of nowadays that they do what we call sagging. I learned that thing came out from the prison.
In the US.
In the US.
Yes.
Because they will remove your belts, everything that you used to.
Yeah.
And one of them is singing and is now pulling the something. And they started copying it. The way they do their ear nowadays is modeling. They love the person doing it and they start doing it. And when they are doing it, I taught in a class one day. We mentioned one singer. I don't want to mention the guy's name.
All right, please.
They call it Wahala Wa.
Yeah, well noted.
I asked them to raise their hands up if you like the song of that guy. Some of them love the song. How many of you want your child or your children to be
like?
Nobody is ready. But the children themselves, they love the way the guy is. The way he's talking, wala, and they are saying it. That means they love the guy's behavior. And you don't just say wala, without taking
the influence of.
Yes. That's the problem we have in the country. And the way to do it, to stop it, is part of what we are doing. We call it primary prevention. Because it is better they don't start it. Prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Once they have started, there was a lady that I treated, discharged a couple of days ago. The first time I discharged, after 2 weeks, he has run away from home.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, they were able to bring her back.
Okay.
Spent another 4 months. Yesterday, I was asking my people, we've not seen this lady for follow-up. I called the family. Yeah. Doc, I just don't want to tell you. Less than a week after the discharge, she ran away.
Oh God.
If I tell you the story of the lady, very pathetic. Extremely pathetic. Left secondary school in 2004.
Wow.
From there, gained admission to 1 NCE. 100 level, somebody younger than her came to ask her, Jekalo Jaye. And that's how she left.
Oh, goodness.
And the idea was get to the peak. Hook up, different kind of drugs, cocaine, heroin, all nonsense. What Yoruba will call Omonini Olona ran away from home for years. Now, talking about rehabilitation, after bringing her down, you left secondary school 2004. Where do you want to start after treatment? That means we need to rehabilitate you occupationally, socially, and psychologically. All this, after the one that we have done in safe environment, in the hospital, there is no way you can get all these things. Immediately she left, craving has started.
Wow.
The strong desire to get this thing has started, and she ran away again. So that's where the problem is. Some of them, okay, you want to ask it?
Yeah, let me, because I want us to be, we are out of time now. What should the society, religious leaders, parents, government,
non-governmental organization inclusive,
what can we all do? Because I see this is a joint thing. It's not, it shouldn't be left to just a set of people. What can be done to correct these anomalies?
Part of what we are supposed to do is what we are doing now. Advocacy, psychoeducation. For us to just prevent starting of this thing. Because once they have started, you would know what I'm talking about when I give you the story of somebody a brother, he was in secondary school then, boarding school, and the senior saw him. Where are you going? He said, I'm going to my hostel on a Friday like this. What are we smoking? He said, Igeni. You know what they call Igeni? This mats that they, that one annoying the senior that are smoking them. And they slap the guy. And the guy is very powerful. He picked one of them, smashed the guy on the ground, started the beating for the senior. All of them now put energy together and beat the guy and his friend.
Yeah.
They now started giving them hemp. From that Friday, en route Saturday, he said by Sunday we are the one begging for the hemp. You know, you can't say peer pressure, you can't say modeling, nothing. Just happening like that. Some people will kidnap, turn you to an addict, release you. That is telling you that the strong desire to take this thing is very high. And the guy took the drug for 10 solid years.
My goodness.
Special grace of God, he didn't do it again. So we all have jobs to do. The media that started, that contributed, media effect, we are doing what you are supposed, part of what we are supposed to do. Well, let me say the security people. Fortunately, I don't want to use all the mouths to say that they are all taking it. Some of them. Because in our neighborhood, we saw some people that are taking it. We went to report. And then, guys, we are going to bust some people that are taking. We did not see them there because some police officer called them before we got there.
Boy, as much as this calls for concern, we will keep advocating that even if it cannot be totally eradicated,
keep on advocating, then be observant. Do you know the age the age range, 13 and above? Somebody that is not using glasses started using dark glasses. Remove your glasses and you see red eye. Somebody that is not using PEF started using PEF, chewing gum, doing all sorts of things.
Or taking a cigarette break at times that, look, up from work, you just go to one corner, go take a break.
No, that's an adult that does not care whether you see him or not.
No.
I'm talking about the younger ones. After taking it, you just see, you enter their room, you see a lot of, you perceive a lot of perfume.
Just to cover
just to cover up. Somebody that does not like taking goodies before, I mean, all this chewing gum, started taking it. Somebody that is not using dark glasses, when you remove your glasses, you see red eye. Somebody that is different kind of new slangs. Wala, wala. You've not been saying this one before now. So why all this? So we need to be very observant.
Parents, that's a call to us all, the society, brothers, sisters. We need to be very, very observant. Dr. Benjamin Adekunle, thank you, Motinselli, for being with us. I know our time, but this is a continuous thing. We will keep advocating. He is a consultant psychiatrist, and obviously it is something that is needed at this point in time. Thank God it's Friday. God willing, I'll be back on Monday on another edition of the program, Morning Spring, on behalf of the entire transmission team. Hey, Tunde IDOWU is my name. Good morning.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule of the unjust and